Jake, I have a question for you.
Fire away.
So I believe the jersey over what I think is your right shoulder, that's a Philadelphia Flyers sweater, right?
Right there. Bang.
Okay, Jaromir Jagr, am I correct on that?
Yep. Yep.
On all of the stuff I've watched with you in it, I've always wanted to know what the other jersey is.
So my dad is actually from the Czech Republic,
Oh, okay.
born and raised. So that's why we're big Yager people because he's also from there. And
Yes.
then the one on the other side, we've had in my family for forever. It's a signed like club team in the Czech Republic. So it's actually signed to me. I don't
Oh, that's
necessarily know
awesome.
I don't necessarily know who signed it, but somebody signed it to me back when I was like 5 or 6 years old, and that's been framed and hung up in everywhere I go. I kind of hang it up, so it's kind of a cool little conversational piece. But these are my two pieces of wall art that I carry around with me wherever I move cities. So I have
Fair
my
enough.
random Yager Flyers signed jersey, and then I have my Motor jersey on the other
Now,
side.
now motor, would that be hockey as well?
Yeah, hockey jersey. I think it's pronounced Motor over in the Czech Republic,
Ah.
but yeah, no,
So
two hockey
big
jerseys.
big kolache guy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Czechs do food the right way.
Yes.
They know how to eat, they know how to drink. Those are two things I'll give the Czechs a lot of credit for. So anything to kind of display my heritage a little bit, I'll have them on the wall.
I like it. And, I was doing some research. I try not to go full Nardwar, but former Czech
Excited.
national
This is
team
great.
hockey goalie
Lacrosse
or,
actually.
oh my God, lacrosse. Sorry. But
So yeah, so I've been doing that for quite a while now. I guess now that I'm turning 27. But yeah, I basically played high school lacrosse up in New Hampshire, boarding school, and then I played a year of D3 at
yep.
Trinity College, and then I transferred to Virginia when I was a second year. Tried out for the team and practiced with the team, the varsity team, for a couple of years before COVID hit.
Hmm.
Uh, and then just once COVID happened, it was kind of GG's for my lacrosse career. So I thought. I went over to Israel
Whoa.
and interned at the World Championships. They had it in Netanya, Israel in 2018. So this is the summer going into my UVA education. And I met Lars and those guys over there, but I also met the team from the Czech Republic while I was over there. So I was like, hey, by the way, like I play goalie. I have a passport. Like if you guys ever need me, give me a ring. Gave them my contact info. I was what at the time was 19. So they gave me a call the next year and said, hey, we're having our U20 European Championship. Do you want to come play goalie for us? I said, sure. Ended up playing pretty well. I won like goalie of the tournament and first team all Europe and shit like that, which is like, again, European junior lacrosse isn't I like great, but worked out for me. And I've been the national team goalie ever since. So we just played in the European Championship this past summer over in Poland. We came in sixth. So we qualified for the next World Championships, which is in Tokyo in 2027.
That's
And I
awesome.
probably wraps for me when I turn 30 on international lacrosse, but you never know.
With that, I feel like that's a perfect segue to intro because tonight, everyone that's watching, we have a legend of the UVA fandom in
I don't know
media.
about
I would say so. I would, as
all
as someone who observed this for a while before jumping in myself, we got Jake Malasek. Jake has been at Barstool for the last couple of years since his graduation from UVA. Has recently started working on John Gruden's content with Barstool. And I'll say this, for all the crap that some of the guys at Barstool give you, I'm pretty sure you're the only Barstool employee who is on a national team.
True. Well, Whitney was Team USA back in the day, so I'll give Whitney his silver medal in the Vancouver Olympics. Credit there. But yeah, I think other than Whitney, I think that's right. So Steve Romano, shout out Steve, played pro lacrosse in the MLL with the Lizards. That was pretty cool. And then obviously Kadick played in the CFP. But other than that, I think I'm probably fourth or fifth most athletic guy we got, so I'll take it.
On the podium. On the
Exactly.
podium. That's all it takes.
I'll take my flag a little bit lower than everybody else's, but it's up there, which is pretty cool.
And I am Deuce Prince. I'm a Charlottesville, Virginia native, lifelong University of Virginia football fan, and former college football offensive lineman for the Citadel Bulldogs, who UVA baseball recently just did a favor by beating Virginia Military Institute today. So I got to rep UVA baseball tonight. And what a year in Virginia athletics. I feel like that's a great jumping off point here. Like,
Yes.
what a starstruck year.
No, it was nuts. I mean, listen, I hopped on one of the shows earlier in the year before the season got going, and we were kind of talking, and one of the guys brought up like this could UVA could be this year's Indiana from
Hmm.
last. And I was kind of like, yeah, like I mean, kind of, but I don't really, like I'm kind of thinking 8 or 9 wins, and it's we have a 1 year rental quarterback. We'll see how it goes. The UVA football season, you really, besides I guess beating Duke in the ACC championship, you really can't ask for much more than what we got.
No, you couldn't.
And I've been beating the drum for years of like, look, the school and the fans are cool with going 8-4. Like they're
Yeah,
totally fine with just being competitive and putting a team out on the field that isn't embarrassing to watch. And I
yeah,
was even cool with going 6-6 with Bronco back in the
yeah,
day when we were losing games 55-50. Because at least that
right.
was fun to watch. The first few years of the Elliott era when we were losing 13-9 and we're kicking 3 field goals and the ball doesn't move, like that's miserable.
Yeah,
But the fact that Elliott figured out how to A, get the money involved, and B, get a team full of guys that fit his system finally, it clearly works out. So I'm hoping that Bo Prabula and the new crop of guys that he brought in is kind of the same recipe and the same formula. But yeah, I was every expectation I've ever had for UVA football has basically exceeded this year.
and it's you arrived at UVA in 2018, right?
I
So
basically got the my first year was Bryce Perkins's year.
so you caught the rising crest,
Correct. I
and
basically I got screwed because I basically came into UVA being like, oh, this is like what football is. This is sick. Like we're nasty at football. And then everyone was like, no, we're not. Like this is a very big anomaly. And I was like, no, like we'll just keep building on this. This is great. And then
we
flash forward 4 years, we're like 6 wins deep into 4 years in. I'm like, oh, this is a disaster. I didn't know we were this bad. But now we're back.
right.
Right.
And I have a similar experience. So my dad coached at UVA from 2000 to 2005 and then 2009. So we were riding off Mike Groh, the Barbers, went straight into Matt Schaub, DeBrickashaw, Chris Long, all these guys. I thought, man, there's no way. This is we are on a good college football team. And then
All of a sudden.
after about 2007 in that Gator Bowl, it was tough sledding until right about 2018 there.
Yep. No, I mean, listen, the new world of college football, I've always said this, is like nowadays, if you can get the funds, you can be good. And you can clearly, I mean, Indiana's a great example of a school that basically got the money and they have
Yeah,
a guy. Like, I don't know if we have a Kurt Cignetti as a head coach, but like we have a pretty good head coach according to the rest of the country.
right.
So like guys like that get the money to buy the teams they need, which is kind of how you got to play nowadays. Like anything is possible. I think the facilities that we have, I've toured a bunch of facilities now with Gruden, and like no one's visiting Virginia and saying I'm not coming here because of the facility.
God,
Like
I mean,
they used to.
you probably remember going past the old McHugh Center,
I
but
used to work out in McHugh. It was a disaster. The fact that we ever got a recruit at UVA for football with the McHugh Center being the facility is the biggest. It's the most impressive thing any recruiter's ever done. That was the worst facility I've ever seen in my entire life. You couldn't fit 3 position groups in that way.
I
So the new building is like it doesn't set us apart in a negative way anymore, which is fantastic. And we have the money. So those are two great things that we really have no real constraints anymore on the recruiting aspect of things.
it's top notch, and you were saying this on another podcast earlier. I think if we followed it up with 8-4, 9-3, even, I don't think you'd have a single complaint in Charlottesville.
I don't think you
Like
would even.
11
Now,
and 11-2 is a strike of lightning in a bottle right there.
I will say this: if it's 8-4, but the 4 games you lose are the 4 good teams, then like it's a little bit of a like if you lose to, I mean, I don't really know who we're playing exactly next year, but if you lose to Tech, if you lose to, I don't know, we play Clemson next year. Like if you lose to all 4 of the good teams you play, then
Right.
it's like, all right, like what are we doing?
We
But like
we
this year, you beat Florida State. That was a big win. I know they ended up the year kind of gross, but they were a top 10 team. We played them.
Yep.
You beat UNC, like that's a good win. You beat Duke at their place. That's a good. I mean, you have a bunch of good wins. That's what we want to see. You want to be competitive in the good games. That's fun for everybody else.
The last 2 weeks are going to be everything because we host UNC and then we go to Blacksburg.
Look at the schedule right now.
You can't get skunked in those two.
Yeah.
No matter how the rest of the season goes, if we take, especially the Tech game, if we can take that one, I think we're in the black per
I'll do you
perception
one
wise.
further. I'll do you one further. I think the first game of the year is the most important game. I think that sets the tone for the entire year. I think if you go to frickin' Brazil and you beat NC State, I think that sets you up because basically you look at the schedule, other than no like West Virginia at their like,
Well, that's in Charlotte. That's a neutral.
oh yeah, okay, cool. So basically until we play at Florida State, we're not really playing any tough games.
Right. We're doing a rematch of the 2003 Continental Tire Bowl in Charlotte.
Yeah, you
And
get through
then,
NC State, you're looking at a top 20 Virginia team going at Florida State.
well, because then you got Norfolk and UD, and
Yep.
like you can like my brother played football at Delaware. I love Newark, like, but like as Lane Kiffin said, let's try and make it different leagues.
Right. Oh, that's how I'm looking at it. If you beat NC State in Brazil, you're looking at a top 20 ranked Virginia at Florida State on in October. That's how it's going to be. That's awesome.
As a fellow Floridian fan of Virginia athletics, I was all penciled in on going to that game. I was going to drive up to Tallahassee, and then unfortunately a wedding got in the way. So, fall weddings are still the scourge of all mankind. But
Yeah, I'll go to the game. That sounds
I,
actually mad fun. That's a good
I,
idea.
it's gonna be a fun year, once again, it's a very doable schedule. No Miami, no Georgia Tech again. Like dodging those two, I think that'll be pretty
No
decent,
Clemson.
and no Clemson. And
It's
do you
huge
think?
too. No travel.
Yeah,
The travel, the worst game we got is SMU. That's a great schedule.
I I feel pretty confident in it. I think if we maintain at least the same attitude, I think we'll still do well. And shoot, man, retaining the entire offensive line that had eligibility remaining, that is the single biggest win of the offseason.
We interviewed Bo Prabula a couple weeks or a couple months ago, middle of their season. I think it was before the Bama game they played with Missouri. I love him.
Yeah.
I think he is exactly what Virginia is looking for in a quarterback. I think he's perfectly like the right mindset vibe. I love that he can move. Like
Yes.
people talk about Bo Prabula, like he's got wheels,
Yes.
serious wheels. Can throw a pretty decent ball. I mean, he's kind of like a bigger Chandler Morris, if I'm
Yeah.
being straight up. But I love his sort of mentality about everything. He was a very nice guy, super sort of clean cut, looked like a Virginia frat kid. Honestly, he's gonna fit right in on the Coops patio. I tweeted that right when we signed him. Like he's gonna dominate the outdoor patio at Coops. But like he is exactly that's kind of my guy that I'm looking for to play QB for us is a Bo Prabula, and I'm very glad that he's here.
One thing that you can, and Drinkwitz and Kitchings have some tie together in the past, but you could see a lot of the same looks when I was looking at film of Bo. Drink and Kitchens both love a little pistol bootleg play action, which I think was Chandler Morris and Bo Prabula's most underrated play. Like I don't even think the OCs knew how good those looks that were generated, when Chandler could just roll out a la Baker Mayfield and just dunk it out to Sage Ennis or Trell Harris or any number of guys. So I don't think it's going to be a huge leap playbook wise for Bo. I think it's going to be a lot of similar concepts.
Also, what's nice too is having Eli Holstein come in too as a backup. He's a guy with a lot of experience, kind of a plug and play guy if need be. Like that's something that we didn't have last year. Like,
Yeah.
could you imagine if we had an actual P4 ready to go starter when Chandler went down to the Wake Forest game? Like that's a thing that we win that game and we're in a much different spot heading into the end of the year than we were. So like that I think is huge for a guy like that to come in and be like, yeah, I'm cool with being the second string guy, and if you need me, I'm ready. And
Pat Narduzzi might be at a different school if not for Eli Holstein.
correct.
Like he kind of lost his job at the end, but Eli Holstein really did keep the Pitt Devil Magic going there for a hot second.
Now, I know we signed the running back from I forget I've been very out of the loop on the transfer signings, but there was a kid we signed. The replacing Jamari Taylor, I'm always fast because that was Bo Prabula's guy at Missouri was Ahmad Hardy, one of the best running backs in the country.
Yes,
I thought
Ahmad was
Jamari Taylor was
outstanding.
I thought Jamari Taylor was one of the best running backs in the country. I thought he was very underrated nationally.
Yes.
I will be very curious to see if we can find a guy to sort of, and whether that's by committee or an absolute tank that we bring in, but like you got to sort of recreate the Jamari Taylor factor, whether
Yeah.
that's one guy or in the aggregate like Moneyball. But like you got to have like that was my issue with the Tony Elliott experience the previous couple of years
Yeah.
was you got to commit to the run. Let's do the run. Let's do the run. We couldn't run the ball. So when you can run the ball, and obviously it works out, and we were a dynamite offense for most of the year. I am very curious to see if that continues with who we brought in and who we've replaced Jamari Taylor with coming into next year. I don't know if you
Yes.
know more than I do, but I'm
So,
excited to see that.
so we got in the portal Peyton Lewis. Peyton Lewis was at Tennessee last
Tennessee,
year.
yes, correct,
He's
nice.
from he's from I believe Salem, Virginia. We lost on him out of high school, able to get him back in the state. Ja'Kai Middlebrooks we got from Middle Tennessee State. He's another kind of fun, like a la Harrison Whaley, like, hey, this dude did nothing but produce at the G5 level. And then we get Xavier Brown back healthy. And hopefully this is the year that Noah Vaughn can see some consistent snaps because in this era, like you're saying, of the portal and constant roster turn, Noah Vaughn has been waiting his turn, and I hope this is the year where we can really see some Noah Vaughn.
Yep. No, I mean it's important because again, to your point, a lot of the O line came back. You just got to be able to run the rock because that
Yeah,
is if you can't, the Tony Elliott offense and the Tony Elliott experience is a brutal watch. So as long as we can move the ball on the ground, like that Florida State drive sticks out to me.
I
Like,
was gonna say, is that where your perception was? Oh, this is different.
yeah, when we ran the ball 13 of 14 plays just
Yep.
down their throats against guys, I was like, oh, they have way better talent and bigger guys, and we were just pounding the ball down their throat play after play. I go, we haven't thrown the ball once this drive, and we're about to score. Like I've never seen that from this team before. That's sort of when I was like, oh, this is actually a very good football team.
You could see the defensive tackles on the head pat crew. They're like, "Get me out of here. This is not
Jesus
fun."
Christ. That was the drive that sticks out to me the most from the season was when we just didn't throw it once and just manhandled Florida State. I was like, oh, this team beat the crap out of Alabama,
Yeah.
and we are dog walking them without throwing a pass. I couldn't believe it.
Well, and you can only play the team that they put in front of you. So for whatever happened to Florida State after, kind of like a little Carmine, whatever happened there, like, you know, that was a top 10 ranked team in the country. They were hot and we were able to
Yeah,
just go in and, that drive also came after we had let up quite a few points from Florida State and we all kind of thought, oh, Jesus,
no,
here
no.
we go again.
That was my first real introduction to Florida too, because I went to a bar with my buddies to watch the game and didn't even realize that like I live in Florida. So I showed up early. I showed up like 6:30 to this bar, and I'm kind of like one of the only guys in the bar. I'm getting a table set up. Like I'm like, this is my Super Bowl. Is this Florida
Right.
State? I'm appointment TV. I said I'm getting a seat. I'm getting in early. Nobody is messing with this. I'm watching the game, and obviously it's on TV. It's a top 10 game, whatever. Friday, I think it was Friday night, so it's like
Yep, it was
nothing.
Friday night.
Volume's on the whole thing, and then I'm just watching these guys walk into the bar one after another, and they're all wearing Florida State polos. And I was like, that's so weird. Why is everybody at this bar a Florida State fan? And then I go, oh, it's because I live in Tampa, Florida. That makes
Right.
way more sense. So I'm
And
the
and
only
it's not any
guy.
part of Florida because I live in Port Charlotte, Florida, about an hour south. The Knowles chokehold on the Gulf is a real
Nuts.
thing.
It's crazy. But I'm literally the only guy in the bar when UVA is freaking out. Everybody else is quiet. And then when Florida State scores, I am getting ripped at
Oh,
this
I can
bar.
only imagine.
And some of the guys in the bar had recognized me from the Gruden stuff and the Barstool stuff, so they're letting me have it throughout the game. Us winning that game was one of the best nights I've ever had in my entire adult life. It
It
was
it
an unbelievable night.
it was such a sigh of relief and exuberance that like you only get so many of those in your sports watching life. Like if you can get 10 of those over the course of your life, you're either a Yankees fan or apparently a Dodgers fan.
I tell people all the time, and people call me crazy for this, but like, and even this is even so, I was there for like the greatest UVA athletics year ever, right? That was the 18-19 season.
20,
And
2019 might be the greatest year in DMV history ever.
correct. Like, I think that was the Nationals won the World Series
That
that
was the
year.
Nats.
Stanley Cup was the Caps that year or the year
Yep.
before. Like that calendar year was crazy. But like I tell people all the time, the night we beat Virginia Tech in 2019 or eight, whatever, the fall of 2018 or 19, whatever it was a better party night for me, and I had more fun than the night we won the national championship in basketball.
Yes.
I thought that was a better vibe at Virginia because like I truly believe like if UVA becomes a real contender in football and the football space, like it means so much more to people than the basketball stuff. Like we obviously cling to basketball UVA because like
Yeah.
that's what's good. But I think if UVA can become a consistent like threat in the college football world, like that school will explode because it
Oh yeah.
really I've never seen a night like that in my life. That was the only night I've seen anybody really like care that much about something. Obviously the Natty night, but like
Yeah.
hey, we're all going to have a party on the corner. Like that's great. It was such a like vibe shift. You could feel like the everybody was proud to be a Virginia Cavalier that night because of the football team, not because there was a big party going on.
Right. That was right, but that was before the basketball natty.
Right.
And, someone who's from Charlottesville and grew up there, with everything that had happened in the years leading up to it, like politically and like it was like the weight had been lifted off of Charlottesville. Like the national headline wasn't what had happened in the past. It was, oh my God, Virginia football, now Virginia basketball. And so like it's been a great
And
like
Max won the Natty that year too, by the way. Not a big deal or anything.
hey, shout out the Lax brothers.
Shout out the Wax team for that. That was Lars Tiffany's like second year. He was like, "Yeah, you guys suck ass. I'm gonna turn this around real quick and win a championship real fast."
Now, with your work with Coach Gruden, has your football watching experience changed?
So much. It's like shocking. So basically, I never played. I played one day of JV football my freshman year of high school. I tried out for a receiver. The hockey coach was the JV football coach. He's like, come out for football. I was like, all right, you know what? I will come out for football. Never played a down of football in my life. Caught one pass and my finger. I said, out. Not doing this.
Not for me.
No, not for me. I showed up to high school. I was 5'4", buck 30, and I was like, yeah, no, this is not my speed. So I never really played. I mean, I watched it in high school. Everybody was a big Patriots fan because I was in New Hampshire. So that was
Right,
like watching the 28-3 Super Bowl and all this, whatever. But like, I never really thought much of it. My parents didn't grow me up as a football fan. My dad's European and my mom's from New York, so like nobody really cared in my family about football. And then I got super into it in college with
right,
UVA. Really started to sort of like check in on the national landscape a lot more, like what was going on in the country. I got really into the NFL. So college is more of my football awakening, which I guess super late nowadays.
right.
Like again, like I was a fan, but I could not tell you what the difference between cover two and cover three was, or what like certain formations were, or like why a team would do this versus this, or I couldn't label the linebackers, like any of that stuff. In the past, what, 14, 15 months of working with him, I know more football than I thought I would ever know in my entire. It's kind of concerning, like how fast I've been able to pick it up, and that's a credit to him for being a good coach. But like
Right.
he says things now, and I can answer them, which is like the weirdest feeling ever. Where he's like, "Hey, what would you do in this situation?" And I like know what to say, which I would never know what to say a year ago. So it's been super cool for me. It's a sport I've never really understood until
Yeah.
now. And getting sort of like the actual X's and O's thoughts behind it has been really, really enlightening for my watching ability.
It's a total language immersion program when you're around a coach like that. And, Coach Gruden has probably forgotten more football than you and I know put together.
Crazy.
And, growing up in a coaching household, being in that world, I kind of take it for granted to know what to look for and why someone might do something like that. So I have more respect for someone like you who had to actually learn it and kind of
Oh
like
yeah.
go full immersion with someone like Coach Gruden because that's like going from the kiddie pool to like the 100-foot depth.
We do this video series called the Gruden's Glossary.
I love Gruden's glossaries. Oh my
And
God.
basically, if you don't know what it is, if you're listening, it's basically Gruden explaining concepts or terms in football that the average fan doesn't like. Maybe they hear them, but they don't know what they mean. So, like, he did a whole breakdown on cover three defense. And basically,
Yes.
here's what a cover three defense is. And you draw the nose tackle, you draw your two ends, your linebackers, your corners, and your safeties, whatever. And then at the end, now that I'm watching him do it, he said, "All right, get on the board and I'm going to quiz you on how to do it."
Right.
So the whole premise of it is essentially here's John Gruden, who coached in the NFL for 35, 40 years and knows everything there is to know about football. And he's teaching this thing. And in 10 minutes, if the idiot that works for him that's never played football in his life and then do it on the whiteboard, like you should be able to as well. So that's sort of what we try and do. I also would recommend if anybody's super into the football side of things, we went and he coached the Hula Bowl in Daytona Beach
Yes.
first week of January. So it was about a month ago, 5 weeks ago. And we brought our cameras down. We filmed the entire week. And we did a little documentary on it. It's on YouTube. But basically, if you look like want to see what a week in like an actual football team looks like and see how like meetings into walkthroughs into practice into the game goes for the whole week, like it is a very in-depth behind the scenes hard knocks style thing. But like you get to watch them install the plays, which they'll never show you in hard knocks because
Right.
obviously they can't. But like for him, he's like, yeah, like what do I care? Show it. So if you're really into that, like we have a great clip out there from installing 72 all go switch, and basically
Yes.
you'll see it in the meeting, you'll see it in walkthrough, you'll see it in practice, and then Blake Shapen threw a touchdown in the game with that play. So you get to
Yeah.
see all four phases of installing the play, which like I've never seen. I think that's super cool. So stuff like that has been like really cool for me to see and be able to get to do.
Absolutely, and I'm sure when you're reviewing and filming and all the stuff that goes into content, you kind of just learn it through osmosis, just looking
Like,
at it so many times. You know, the 22 times it takes someone to understand something. And my favorite part of that whole documentary, it was not on a football field, it was not in a specific meeting room, it was the ballroom walkthrough.
yep.
I have done that more times than I can ever tell. So I'm glad someone's putting that on tape so that people can see, because that is a core memory for anyone that played football.
Listen, you go back, you watch the 2019 national championship, they had Clemson doing that in the hotel. So it's like every sort of level of football is doing this,
We
and I'm glad that we had a microphone and some cameras to kind of show people what it's like.
we had one, so we played in the Southern Conference, and our furthest opponent was Samford in Birmingham, Alabama. And we went and played at Samford. We stayed in a hotel in downtown Birmingham, and we did a walkthrough on the top floor of the SEC headquarters parking garage. So fresh off of tying Alabama 10-10 at the half, the Citadel football team goes marching through the SEC offices in full regalia, and we're getting the side eye. We're in Alabama. All the people are still like, "Oh man, it was the Citadel took us to the wire when no one else could," and we were up on the top floor of some parking garage throwing a tennis ball around.
That's awesome. Yeah, stuff like that. Like I have never once seen like again, like I grew up playing hockey. That was kind of my big sport. And like you obviously have like I get you kind of watch tape, but like not really. There's not a whole lot to really prep. Like the amount of prep work and
Mhm.
practice and repetition that goes into a football week, it's blown me away at what these people are able to do and how much information they're like able to process and remember and actually understand. So like I give football players a lot of credit because some of this stuff I cannot figure out. So I don't know how they do it week in, week out, and they change it. Like
Yep.
it changes every week. Like, hey, we're gonna switch the lingo. It's like, whoa, I just learned this lingo. I gotta learn a whole new set of lingo. It blows me away every time I see it.
You gotta have a fast like processor in that sense. And going going back, so obviously this has been a probably crazy ride for you with all of this sort of stuff. At what point from, okay, lacrosse player coming from Trinity to UVA, trying to play some lacrosse at Virginia, at what point from there to now were you like, okay, this media thing is something that I want to go towards, I want to have a career in?
Yeah. So when I was at Trinity, I was gonna be an econ major and go work in banking. Basically,
Hmm.
was my plan because that was what everybody on the lacrosse team was doing. And I was like, I don't have anything better as a plan for myself, so I might as well just do that. And I took econ my freshman year, and I wanted to blow my brains out. Boring thing I've ever done. So when I transferred to Virginia, I was like, all right, let me think about like how I can not want to jump off a bridge. So I kind of like when football was getting good and we were winning games, and then basketball started up, and I knew the whole UMBC thing. Like I watched it because my parents were Darden grads, and like we cared, but not terribly.
Yeah.
Um, and like I started paying attention to UVA sports. Like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. And like I give a lot of my success credit to the UVA athletics like media department.
Hmm.
Virginia Sports TV was putting out some good film at the time. So I basically just started downloading their stuff off of YouTube and sort of cutting it up in my own way and making little like videos for UVA Sports.
Yeah.
Um, so that was sort of my little first introduction. And they were garbage videos. Like they were not anything. I would never ever put them out now. But like at the time, I didn't know any better. I was just kind of like whatever. I tried to dabble with that a little in high school.
Yeah.
Picked it back up in college. But yeah, I basically just started making videos in my apartment in second year at UVA, and my buddy, who I like kind of knew through a buddy of mine, was you know seeing my stuff and basically messaged me and was like, "Hey, by the way, like I run the Barstool UVA pages. I see you're making all this video stuff. Like, do you want to just do that for Barstool UVA?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, I don't, whatever. That sounds cool." I kind of like I was a Barstool-ish fan, but like didn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
Saw it was like a big deal and whatever, so I said yes, and did that for 3 years. And kind of as UVA got into stuff, I started getting more involved. And once you're in the college program, like that's all sort of hubbed into HQ in New York, which is our only
Ah,
office.
okay.
So that entire college program, so it's like Barstool Virginia Tech or Barstool Wake or Barstool UNC, all of those accounts answer to a team in New York at the actual Barstool office. So I got put in the system that way, started doing more stuff. I mean, I'm not going to say I was the greatest at it, but like the bar's pretty low with a lot of the college kids just because
Mm.
like, they have classes and whatever. So like making your own videos and graphics is already pretty much a step up from what a lot of kids are doing.
Right.
Uh, and like the UVA account did pretty well when I was there.
Hmm.
So I ended up getting the internship at Barcelona out of college, just kind of like, applied and got it, which is pretty nice for me.
Yeah.
Interned for 3 months at Barstool, and I've been there ever since. It's year 5 now, which is pretty crazy to say. I'm one of the vets at Barstool now, which is kind of a
Dang.
weird.
And so, like, in culminating in that is kind of this hellacious, I would say, like, probably, what is it, probably 3 weeks you've had? So you had, or month or so, Hula Bowl, Super Bowl, Daytona 500, crisscrossing the country. You've probably been to Daytona more in the past month than you ever have been in your life.
Yeah, I've been to Daytona Beach twice in the past 5 weeks, and it's 2 more times than I've ever been in my life. Correct. Yeah, we've been all over the place. I mean, what's fun about him is like everybody wants to see him and have him at their stuff and wants to talk to him. So like we get pretty much unlimited access wherever we want to go, which is awesome,
Yeah.
and we're grateful for that, obviously. Um, but yeah, I mean, we've been traveling a ton. The Super Bowl was awesome. San Francisco, like not my favorite place in the world, but like pretty cool to be
Yeah.
there. I've never been, so it's fun to see. Like I would never move there. Wasn't really like
Mhm.
I'm not a California guy. I can't leave the East Coast. I mean, even
Right.
Chicago, a little too far west for me. Uh, but like to see it was very cool. You get to meet a lot of cool people. We interviewed Eli Manning that came out today. We had Bo Jackson, like a lot of the Hall of Famers, legends. We got to
Yeah.
meet. And now, like, thank God, like I say that, but we're prepping for our QB class show. Is kind of the next 6 weeks of our year is that show. So we have our first 3 guys coming in the first 10 days of March, and then we'll have our last 3 the back half of March. So we're just, I mean, I've watched more Diego Pavia film than you could possibly imagine. I'm cutting up Carson Beck right now. But yeah, we'll have 6 shows coming out in the 3 weeks leading up to the draft. And then after the draft, it's off season for your boy until about mid-August when we're going to some camps and training camps and other stuff for college and pro. So I'm trying to play a little more golf,
There
but
we go.
April 24th is my target day of when things start to slow down. So it's been a busy year, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So no complaints from me.
That's awesome. And so, I grew up watching those Gruden QB classes. Like, I'm sure like, all the comments are filled up with that. But, like, having that show continue and being able to watch it like that is one of the coolest football series that has been running for X amount of years. Like, now, because I'm now thinking of the good old, of all the hard count stuff. Can we get Gruden to come down to Brazil and see if the people down there can give a good snap count?
The thing with this, right? And like I was debating going down to Brazil too. Like I didn't realize how far away it was.
Yeah.
So far away. I thought it was like a 5, 6 hour flight. It's like 12 hours away.
It's a quicker flight to, I believe, London and like probably Berlin.
I couldn't believe how far away the Rio de Janeiro is. So I don't think we're going to be able to make that. I am trying to, and we've set up our schedule in the fall to be a little bit easier on our weekends. We
Mhm.
added we do game previews for the NFL, and we had three a week last year, which I think was one too many. So we're going to cut that down to two a week this coming season, which should allow us to be able to go to a few more college football games and experiences throughout the weeks in the fall this year. But I'm trying. I mean, listen, I'm beating the drum for us to get to Charlottesville for a game. I would love that.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, kind of come see what that's all about. I think that UVA as a school doesn't get a lot of national attention. I think we're one of two or three teams that's never hosted game day in the P4. Uh,
Yes.
I'd love to sort of shine some light, especially if we're good again. Would like to have somebody sort of beat the drum for UVA football. But yeah, I mean, I want to get to some cool experiences. Like we have some connections to Georgia. We have some connections at Ohio State, Florida. So we'll do some stuff like that. I do think it's more fun to come to the schools that no one talks about.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more fun. I think people, we went to Eastern Illinois last year for the game against Dayton. Like no one's doing that.
Well, OVC action. I
You know
like
what I
it.
mean? So like I think for us, our niche has been because he makes anything interesting. I think it's more of you want to give some exposure to some schools that need it versus everybody wants to be there.
Right.
Going to the Georgia Texas game doesn't really do much for Georgia or Texas if Gruden's there because
Right.
but if Gruden goes to UNC UVA, like that's much more of a story, I think, than the alternative. So I'm trying to, figure out pull some strings, see what we can do. But yeah, we'll be at some stuff this fall more so than we were last year.
Man, that's awesome, and I'm looking forward to watching all of it, just because like it's so informative, and I think y'all do a great job curating those cool experiences. Like the Hula Bowl was so cool to watch. That's a stage of football that I never got to. I knew when my last snap of football was my senior year. So like seeing those because you kind of think, okay, they're just putting this together. How much game prep actually goes in? Like,
Oh yeah,
do we have a deep ball, a mid-level pass, and a short pass? No. And shoot, the coaching staff for the Hula Bowl was
crazy,
ridiculous. That
crazy. I
was
mean,
ridiculous.
we're saying if you put that coaching staff in the NFL, they're like a Super Bowl contender.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that was legit. I know they just hired John Fox up in Buffalo as an assistant coach, but like he had John Fox, Jack Del Rio, Ed Donatel, Kirby Wilson, I believe is his name.
Yep.
Um, he had who else? Ike Taylor, Ron Middleton. Like there's some stud coaches, and then Jay's team too was full of guys. But like it was a very impressive staff that he put together for this week in Daytona. I mean, and none of them got paid. Like they just did it because they love football. Like
Yeah.
that's what I love these kind of guys is they basically showed up and just were like, yeah, like I would love to coach a week again.
There are some people who have that gene. They're just like they need a whistle around their neck, and it is some kind of innate need in their in their system for it.
We had two of our boys there. We had James Jackson and Mitchell Melton were both there. And
Absolutely. That
Melton
those
balled out
guys were
on
great to
punt.
watch in the actual game because like those
Yeah.
dudes are just absolute gamers.
Mitchell Melton played. I mean, we had three DNs by the end of the week, and he was one of them. And he was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but we're going to do it. And I said, Godspeed, brother. I'm not getting out there to help you. So by all means, bro, go ball out because it's not going to be me.
Well, and Gruden gets another plus in my mind because Gruden has the correct verbiage in the football world for the son that's named after you. So there's Deuce Gruden, and then I'm Deuce Prince. So Gruden gets an immediate bump for not going junior or any other thing. It's Deuce.
Deuce is the man. I met Deuce a couple weeks ago for the first time, but like he really is all muscle. It's pretty impressive to look at like a guy like that. I mean, he's what, buck 85, I want to say, weight, and he's putting up 487 on the bench. Like, and
Ridiculous.
he's a world championship power lifter. I mean, you look at the stuff that he's doing, you're like, holy crap! Like that again will never be me, and I'm cool with that. But like some of the stuff that he's able to do physically, it just blows my mind.
Absolutely. And it's the smaller strength coaches, kind of like Alex Mirabal at Miami, the offensive line coach. It's the coaches that do not at all fit the physical profile that will make the most insanely good coaches.
I mean, there's that video of Deuce and Colton Miller out in Vegas before the game, and Colton Miller's like 6'7", and Deuce is like 5'6", and it's the funniest thing you've ever seen. and Deuce is like making him work around the arm, and he's got to get real low, and it's just a great visual. But yeah, no, Deuce is the man. We love Deuce.
That's awesome. We have a question that we like to ask every one of our guests on the 4-3-4 defense. It might be the most important question we ask. Jake, what is your Bodo's Bagels order?
Oh, I love this question. So I'm a trash bag when I go to Bodo, so I'm getting two bagels.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going sesame bagel chicken salad as my first bagel.
Ooh,
And that's my go-to if I go there, no matter what. Like if I'm getting one, that's what I'm getting. And then
yeah.
I'm a sesame guy, so I'll go sesame bagel again, but I'll go bacon, egg, and cheese, provolone cheese, and then I'll get the biggest Coke they can give me. And then I'll just go absolutely house those two bagels and sit down at one of the tables. It's spirit. If you've never been to Bodo's Bagels, I hope that anyone listening to this has been there. It truly is a spiritual experience being in the line because you look at the line when it's out the door down the corner and you
Yep.
go, there's no chance I get this bagel within 20 minutes. And not only do you have your bagel in 20 minutes, you're done eating in 20 minutes. Like the assembly line that they have back there is one of the most impressive operations I've ever seen in my entire eating life.
It's impressive, and you having spent time in the Northeast understand a good bagel and a good experience with that. And when you're trying to tell someone we need to go eat bagels in Charlottesville, Virginia, a lot of people from the Northeast are like, "Hold on, I'm
No, they don't
stopping
get
at
it.
Philly."
Don't get it. They don't get it. No, I had a few like spots that I would go to basically when I was in Charlottesville. It was Bodo's, obviously. Pico Wrap is one of my
Ooh,
favorite places, which used to be called Zazu's when I first was at UVA, and then it changed to Pico Wrap, but it's the same people. It's phenomenal. It's the best burrito I've ever had because they basically take all your stuff and then they put it in like a little machine and they melt it all together.
oh,
It's to die for. Steak burrito at Pico Wrap, peak. And then I would go to Riverside Lunch over in Pantops and get
yes,
my triple cheeseburger. And that is, again, you get a little Arnold Palmer in that plastic cup, and you're like, God damn, this is delicious.
oh yeah,
Other than that, I didn't really dabble. I wish I had gone more downtown mall than I did when I was at school.
uh-huh.
Back now, I try and go to the downtown mall as much as possible and go to like Fitzroy and go to places like that. But those are kind of my three heavy hitters. Then I go to Moe's Barbecue, oftentimes as well. Back when I was, hanging around the lacrosse facility, it was right there. But those were my spots. Those were my good times.
Downtown mall's gotten pretty good. Like they've got a bunch of good spots down there. My
I was there when there was still a hockey rink there. That's how old I am. Back when
man,
there was
I
back when there
rem
was
Pepperidge Farms remembers the hockey rink in the
kids today
downtown
don't remember the
mall.
hockey rink. I remember the hockey rink.
Well, I remember when Buffalo Wild Wings was or Wild Wing Cafe was still the pop in place. Rest in peace to Wild Wing Cafe. That when we had Eugene Monroe on the pod about 3 weeks ago. It was all good times, all good times. And then I told him that Wild Wing Cafe had shut down. He was like, "Oh my God."
Devastated. Devastated.
Three Notch Distillery, another good one. If you're back
It's
in Charlottesville, that's a good spot.
The dairy market thing also opened up when I was like third year, I want to say, and like that was cool. I enjoyed going there. I mean, that was like a thing that like we probably needed as
Yeah,
a area. But that little area over there where that other Bodo's is, up until the dairy market, has some sneaky solid spots.
they do. The one place I haven't gone to yet that I want to go just out of sheer curiosity because it's been there seemingly since I was a child is the kebab place by the football facility.
Oh my God! So Afghan kebab, it's got to be
Yes.
a money laundering scheme or something because there's never anybody in there.
I've
Never
never
been.
been.
I've never been. I refuse to go. I don't want the magic to be disappearing from my brain because I truly think it's an empty place every time I drive by. There's never a car out front. Nobody's ever in there. We sent kids to go check it out, and they're like, "Yeah, not a soul inside." I was like, "I don't know how they're staying alive, but they're still kicking. Good for them." I saw them when I was there.
I've talked to multiple UVA former players, former coaches, people like that. No one's ever gone in
Never,
there.
never. Also, the other spot I like to shout out, which is a sort of a Charlottesville sneaky, is there's an Exxon gas station. I don't know if they're still doing this, but when I was in school, there they were. There's an Exxon gas station which is sort of on the way. It's sort of like if you're driving to Farmington Country Club, the back entrance on the little 21 Curves road, and you don't
Yes.
go onto 21 Curves, you take a little bit of a left, and there's a little bit of a like a dippy bridge underpass area. There's an Exxon gas station right there at that light, and they make a mean sandwich in there. There's a little
I'm gonna have to check
gotta
this
go.
out.
We used to call it Gourmet Exxon, and you would go to the Exxon gas station, you get gas, and they would make you a sick sandwich inside. There's a little like deli in there,
I
and they
I
make some phenomenal sandwiches.
I gotta try this because
Go give that.
I'm planning on potentially UNC. That's the theoretical. That would be the theoretical game
Send me a
this year.
photo, tweet me a photo from the Gourmet Exxon. I'll be like, yeah, no, fire spot.
I will have to from the Gourmet Exxon because this is just it's too like it's too off the beaten path. Like
And no, it's
very
you'd
much
never know driving by, but it's delightful in there.
that is awesome. Now, if where do you rank this season compared to some of the other UVA seasons that obviously you've either watched 2019 or some of the other ones? Because I feel like this is one of the this was the discussion that started after the Gator Bowl. Like, where does this year rank?
So, I mean, again, I think the way 19 ended for me was better. Like
Hmm.
I was not like the Virginia Tech game in 19 being the game that decided who got to go lose to Clemson in the ACC championship because neither team was going to win that game.
Yeah,
But like it being like, okay, both of these teams are good. Both of these teams have a chance to make the conference championship. And back then, that didn't matter either. It wasn't like you win that game and you go to the playoffs. So it didn't really matter. Even if
yeah,
we had won that game, like we're not playing for a national championship. Like that ending of a season was better for me than this one. But I
hmm,
think all in all, I would probably put 19 at one for me and this one at two.
yeah,
I think that also like there were better signature moments from 19 than there were from this year.
yeah,
Um, like I think the Florida State game from 19 and this year's Florida State game are pretty on par for me in terms of excitement level.
yeah.
And like, having Bryce Perkins do what he did, like I thought he was an awesome like story that everybody sort of rallied behind. Like I love Chandler Morris, but like nationally he didn't get a lot of like talk. Like I
Right.
thought Bryce Perkins was much more of a flashy, like, oh, we're actually gonna like highlight him on Sports Center night like week after week. So that was pretty cool. And then I was right behind that for me, and this is gonna sound crazy, but like that 2021 Brennan Armstrong season where we went 6-6, that's one of the best times I've ever. That was one of the most fun I've ever had, to be honest.
There were a lot of really good moments that year.
That year was so fun for me. I was the proponent of Brennan Armstrong Heisman, and like obviously he wasn't going to win it because they lost 6 games. But like the numbers that he would put up every single week, just my jaw would drop every game. I would bet his over on passing every single, and he would hit it by halftime at every single game. He was throwing for 500 yards a game.
It was ridiculous. And I think this is when I found out about the Sickos Committee account because
Yeah,
that's when they had the Detmer stat for just like who's chucking and ducking the most. And it would
it was
always be
so
Brennan
fun.
Armstrong right at the very top.
And like those games, like the BYU game, like he broke his rib in the third quarter and had 400 yards of total offense, and we had 40 points. And I was like, dude, like this is so fun for me to just enjoy. UNC, I think we lost to what was that Sam Howell and Josh Downs,
Yep.
like 7-48 or something like that, and like both quarterbacks had over 500 yards passing. Like those games were really really fun. So I put 2021 up there. I like that Kurt Benkert year. I sort of was tapped in a little bit into that.
Yep.
That's when I first started to really like think about Virginia football. Back when I guess what he threw that bomb at on the blue field, the blue turf.
Yep. 2016.
Like that's a good year. But yeah, I really wasn't paying attention back when you were in your heyday watching the Matt Schaubs and the Chris Longs of the world. Like I was what 7 years old when that was going on, and my parents were not turning on UVA football on the TV. So yeah, I would go 19, 25, 21, 16 would be my top four.
I think that's fair. And I'm so glad that Brennan Armstrong has started to appear in more UVA stuff because I do think that most Virginia fans appreciate and really understand, even though Brennan went on to NC State, like he is very much a well-respected figure, and
Yeah.
I'm glad he's doing stuff with UVA because I don't think you can find any UVA fan that really has a bad thing to say about
No,
Brennan.
he's my favorite guy. He's my favorite quarterback I've ever watched. I thought that year, the 2021 year, single-handedly, that was the most fun I've ever had watching football. And we
Oh
lost six of the 12 games we played. We
yeah.
didn't play a bowl game. So like that to me was one of the most fun years I've ever had. And like he was so fun to watch. Every time he dropped back to pass, I go, it's a completion, it's a completion.
Yeah.
Like having an offense like that on your football team, it was so fun. So I love him. I'll be a Brendan Armstrong. If he has no fans, I'm dead. Because I'll be his fan until I die.
Bryce and Brennan, if the college football games had continued, both of those guys would have been elite
Oh my God.
quarterbacks to play with.
Can you imagine having Bryce Perkins in CFB, whatever this game is? Like he would have had what 94 speed and just been so like he would have been Quinshon Judkins, but like with like, at quarterback.
The agility stat would have been crazy. The ball carrier vision stat would have been crazy. And
Nuts.
then Brennan Armstrong, 99 arm strength and like what, a 6'1" frame, 6 foot maybe.
A big boy. I think he's bigger than that, to be honest.
I don't know why.
He's,
Maybe just
I think
maybe
he's pushing 6'3". He was a big because I'm not small and he's much bigger than I am.
I don't remember him feel like because Bryce Perkins felt large.
Yep.
Like he was tall and had a very lanky frame. Whereas like Brennan was like very much like a fire hydrant and would just chuck a ball 70 yards downfield.
They have him listed at 6'2", 215. I think
Okay.
I think 6'2" is shortchanging him a little bit, I'll be honest. I think he's a bigger boy than that.
So maybe UVA football is one of the football programs that actually pushes the height, the ruler
Little down.
down on the head.
I wonder what they list Chandler Morris at, just out of curiosity.
I think they might just go off a hey, how tall are you?
So ESPN's got say they have a 6 foot 190, and I don't know about all that.
That might be a app bio.
Listen, 10 wins. Can't argue with 10 wins.
I was well 11.
Yeah, what's your take on that? I don't like adding the bowl game, win or loss.
I think it was a big enough step for the program to go up against an SEC opponent that admittedly
Sure.
was a little bit hobbled since they didn't have Bo, but to go up there and go up to Jacksonville and have the performance they did, I will allow it. I think it's
You gotta play the game, but like when you go back and say like, oh yeah, 2025, like I'm not gonna say an 11-win season. I'm gonna say a 10-win season. I hate adding the bowl stat because you never know how good or bad the team that you're playing is or the team that you trot on the field is.
Yeah, I mean, we had no Jamari, they had no Bo, they had all of their edge rushers. I think that makes it relatively fair. And you know, if we had gone out and gone to like a P5 versus G5 bowl and we played against some regional, like some directional school, I would be a little less hesitant. I would be a little more hesitant to count it. But
Okay.
I think against an SEC opponent, I will count the
You're a
11
you're a
wins.
situational game adder, is what I'm hearing. Bowl adder.
Yes, I'm 100% a situational game adder. I won't be probably adding the Bahamas Bowl if we chalk that up.
Fair enough.
But
All right,
we could
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
a second tier bowl game like the Gator Bowl, obviously not one of the playoff bowl games, but like it's firmly in that tier with like the Sun Bowl and like maybe the Belk Bowl if you want to include that. Like it's a good bowl.
Elk Bowl was special, man. That was my first real bowl game that I ever went to. But down in Charlotte, we played South Carolina. We won 28-0. I was like, damn, that was sick. We had the best time ever.
I don't believe we've ever lost that bowl game. We're 3-0.
Sick. That team was filthy too. That was a very fun time. That was Juan Thornhill and all those guys were still on that team. That was what 18 Belk Bowl. Yeah, that was
18, yep.
a really good time.
Man, well, and a lot of with the exception of the couple of years in the wilderness as Tony Elliott was getting his feet under him, and understandably so.
Yep.
You know, 2019 to 2026, if we can rack up another good year, it'll definitely feel like things have been on the upswing.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to this 2026 season. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. I can't wait. I mean, you're riding the biggest wave of momentum we've had maybe ever. So, like, this is pretty much as good as it's going to get in terms of a preseason thought. And then I think I'm telling you, we have the right guy under center. I do believe in Bo Perbula. I hope he stays healthy. It's kind of my
Yep.
one real concern. But if he can stay healthy, I think the sky's the limit for this team.
right guy under center. We were able to keep John Rudzinski at defensive coordinator, which I did not think was a sure thing. I thought someone was going to go after him. You know, staff stayed pretty stable. O-line coach got the OC job, Terry Heffernan at Stanford. You can't fault him there. And then we had analyst Joe York just waiting in the wings, ready to take that over. He was at a good Gruden destination before UVA. He was at Presbyterian College,
Yeah, very
except
nice.
the Blue Hose.
Presbyterian. Yeah, no, listen, Terry Heff, legend. I'm
Hey,
I'm happy for him because that's a great step up. That's a big job. So I'm gonna miss him. He followed me on Twitter. I was a fan of his. So I hope nothing but the best for Coach Heffernan.
left the place better than he found it. I don't think that's in doubt at all. And shoot, stable coaching staff. And if Des Kitchings can just call every game like he called the Virginia Tech game,
Yep,
we're in great shape.
we're in business.
But Jake, thank you so much for your time. I know you got a busy schedule, so I'll release you to your night. But thank you so much for hopping on, Jake. I appreciate it.
Make sure everybody likes, follows, and subscribes. 434 defense. Love this
Thank,
guy.
thank you so much, Jake. And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you giving us a bit of your time in this evening or morning, whenever you're watching this. And thank you so much. Have a great night and go Hoos.